In this episode, I get to ask my girl, Britnie Faith Turner, what she is doing with her wealth and why, and specifically what she's going to do going forward to impact all the nations that she wants to serve globally. All right, fans and family, followers from around the world, thank you so much for being with us during this journey on this particular podcast, From Broke to Woke. I'm asking a question, a woke question, to my girl Britnie Turner over there. Britnie, this is actually a question that we're going to have on our script, which is crazy. First time we're ever using it.
Wow.
We actually have questions here.
Impressive.
That's wild. How are you using your wealth to help others?
I am doing it in multiple ways. So I teach, after going down this path of not having clear filters, to get really clear. Look at your eulogy and say, what are the initiatives that you care about most? Because there's a lot of really worthy causes.
When did you first hear about eulogy thing?
I was forced to write mine at 17.
Yeah.
And I was always really cared about people, cared about animals. I wanted to make a difference. But I also just cared about goofing off and pulling pranks on people and having a lot of fun. And I was the funnest person in the room all the time. And when I wrote my eulogy, I realized that if I died right now, nothing on my list would be true. Everything I want to be said about me is not even close. I'm not even on the path to doing that because I wasn't being intentional. And so that was a huge wake-up moment for me. And honestly, I think I would attribute a lot of my early success and focus and drive to having to do that exercise. So it's a huge thing I tell people to do. Yeah. And I use it as a reference point for a lot of the big decisions in my life because your soul knows the answer. And death is nothing more than everything that doesn't matter leaving you. Yes. So, and everything that doesn't actually matter is stripped away. Yeah. What does matter?
What's there? What's left?
So your soul knows the answer.
Oh my gosh.
Very quickly. It's like the fastest simulation to understand. I mean, who lives more intentionally in life than people that have a terminal illness?
Exactly. Yeah. You have 6 months to live. What are you doing? And
They're
everyone's
aware.
like, bang, 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 bang.
Boom.
Yeah.
They have those conversations. They're present.
Yep.
They're doing life. And so if you can do that simulation, I highly, highly recommend it. So in order to use your wealth as a force for good, look at your eulogies, see what those are. For me, the top 3 that I care about is helping to wipe out poverty at its root by developing nations, ending human trafficking at its root, and bridging purpose. So I love helping people find their purpose and using their wealth to empower that. So I had another huge wake-up moment where I had been living in BVI, the British Virgin Islands, a lot of 2017. I'd met Richard Branson.
Yep.
I had gone to the British Virgin Islands, and I promised myself someday I would live there, and I thought it'd be when I was like 50. And I had gone to the BVI a lot in early 2017. I'd made friends with a lot of the locals, and I'd been working on a property down there. And so when Hurricane Irma hit, oh my gosh, it was the most devastating hurricane to ever make landfall in the Atlantic at the time. And the whole nation just went off the radar. Yeah. There's no communication. There's very little shots, and it looked like everybody was dead, honestly. The UK, only 15,000 people live there, and the UK military brought 5,000 body bags. It was so... They really thought they were going to need more. That was just the first wave. And so I didn't have a lot of resources, but I had taken my little survival school training. I packed my backpack, and I took my little sister and my brother-in-law. The only 2 people brave enough to go with me, and we didn't know where we were going to stay or what. I just knew I wanted to go down there and find my friends' bodies and help them if they were alive because it looked so horrible. And so when I landed, I was dealing with burnout at the time. I had all this going on in my marriage at the time. Yep. And all this stuff going on with my company. It was very, very tough season for me. Again, struggling eating because of all the anxiety and stress. But I wanted to go help. I really care about my friends. So I land there, and I see that a few entrepreneurs were helping uphold this entire nation. It was nuts that Richard Branson was orchestrating all these resources coming in, and he was using the Necker Bell as a rescue boat. And then founder of Google's using his helicopter as a way to drop off supplies on these remote islands that they would have starved to death. And then the founder of OtterBox used his wealth to bring in Convoy of Hope, which is a cruise ship, and fed the whole main island, Tortola, for like 120 days. And I saw over and over again how these amazing people were using their wealth to where it didn't hurt their families to do that. It didn't hurt their whole life or destroy their company to be able to sacrifice and help that. And so it was absolutely incredible, the responsibility I felt after witnessing that. And so I audited my life and said, what do I have? I have a media production company. And we had never made a documentary. We had never done a lot of like the film that I wanted to do at some point at that point. And I said, okay, if the whole world heard that the BVI was destroyed and their main economy is tourism, then nobody's ever going to come back. And so I used that company to be the liaison to sharing the right story about how BVI is coming back online. And so it was really fun to be able to do that. And so we made the BVI Stronger web series. But what I was really doing, we also made a documentary that Branson posted. It got over 25 million views. It was awesome. It orchestrated a ton of donations. It brought a lot of businesses back. It allowed people to keep investing in, vacationing in, and believing in BVI. It was awesome. But that's the power of media.
Yeah.
And so what I was really doing was studying at a grander scale than what I've been practicing in my own backyard, which was acceleration of recovery. So you can do it from poverty, you can do it from disasters, you can do it from war, you can do it from all these different things. But how can you take what would normally take 30 years to recover or change?
It takes a while.
And do it in freaking 2 years.
It takes a while in those
Doesn't
nations.
have to, though.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't have to. So it was my way of boots on the ground, interviewing almost everybody that lived there and saying, you know, what do you wish you had known? How could we have prepared better? What's working? And gathering those stories and then sharing them so that the next island nation understands how to prepare and also recover by learning the lessons from other places that have experienced these kinds of storms. Whether you believe in global warming or not, oceans are getting warmer, and that means that hurricanes are getting more intense. And so that ended up leading me to, that whole study led me to create Aerial Recovery Group. And so my big thing, if you actually read my eulogy, it's I want to work in 13 developing nations. I want to help them build these strong, self-sustainable economies so that they don't have these poverty-related issues. So that's my thing. You want to change the 2%. I want to develop these 13 developing nations in my lifetime. And so this is how we do it. You know, we're creating the messaging, we're understanding how to accelerate recovery, we're doing the planning on the front end, and then through G-Force, we're actually getting these amazing minds, people who care about, you know, trees, education, medical care, all the different pieces that it takes to build a really strong nation. And we're sharing those resources and tools with places who haven't had the same ability to study the way that we have necessarily.
Yeah.
So we're just sharing best resources.
Yeah.
That's it. It's education. Always goes down to education.
Right. And when you're doing this, I mean, this is just a random question, but if you're going from island to island, these islands that you're mentioning, the 13 developing nations, correct?
13 nations, yeah.
13 nations. What languages are those? Are those all different languages?
Some of them are.
Yeah.
Some of them are. Several are English, but most are different ones.
Yeah.
My big goal is to get to doing it in Africa. And so I'm practicing, again, own backyard, different really rough areas and different urban centers across the U.S., and then island nations that were hit by disasters. And then we're going to be working on the areas that were hit by war or just really strong poverty.
Yeah.
But Haiti's on that list. Oh, I want to do Haiti so bad.
Why specifically Haiti?
It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad, and it's not hard to change.
No.
I mean, it was so rough. I mean, I think when you see a baby starving, you're just messed up after that, and you realize you have to do something.
Have to.
And with that, wanting to do something, there's a lot of groups that go in there with these amazing, beautiful hearts. But we've created a welfare system to where if we're all giving out T-shirts, or giving out food, the little T-shirt company or grocery store won't survive. How can you compete with free?
Mm-hmm.
And so what struck in my heart was God showed me that there's more than enough need and there's way more than enough resource. If we can just tell people their piece in that plan. Because every 5 minutes in Haiti, a new little group lands with their neon green T-shirts, Save Haiti, lands. So the people, the bodies, the money is there. They just need to know how to actually move the ball forward. Yes, we have to save the starving baby, day one.
Yep.
But somebody else can be planting the trees.
Yep.
Somebody else can be working on education. Somebody else can be How can we all tag team master planning the long-term recovery of these nations? And so that's what I'm really gifted at. If I had to pick and I'm good at anything, and remember, I've got that one.
What a good skill to have, though.
I've got one good karaoke song.
Yeah.
And I'm really good at finding the highest and best use
Yeah.
for something and then creating the plan for it and then sharing the pieces. You are gifted at this piece. He is gifted at this piece. She is gifted at this piece. Together, we can come together and really make things happen quickly.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to do with my life. And that's what all of these freaking companies, as all of these initiatives, there isn't one thing that we've done that doesn't point to getting that off the ground. We've just been testing it in all these different ways, but behind the scenes, it's always been about learning for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why nobody can beat me.
Mm-hmm.
You can't beat me long term because it's never been about the thing. It's been about learning.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
Yeah. I'm not saying you're going to keep learning because it's easy. Learning is really easy to do. You know, the implementation of learning can be challenging, but I mean, I didn't beat you at thumb war.
No, and you won't.
So that's just another point of things that people are not going to beat you at. I love it. And it's great you mentioned Haiti because I have pretty personal ties with Haiti as well. So my uncle's gone down there and he's dug a few wells for some schools and for some churches. So he was down there for 15 years of his life. My dad's brother.
My gosh.
The only one who's alive. So he's the one I'm going down to see next week.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
15 years.
Yep. So he was down there just drilling wells.
It's amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, again, you're right. Having that master plan of getting all these groups that truly care and want to help and getting them all together and just really strategizing, I think is something that isn't being done right now. For a lot of the countries that people do want to help, they don't know how to master plan it.
Mm-hmm.
They do kind of go in and go, all right, let's all just do this one thing. If everyone focuses on food, it's a really valid point that you bring up is there's no need for markets to come up. So you're kind of, in a way, sabotaging it. And because if it does become a welfare system, then there's no initiative or no recourse to build.
I think there's something, I'm going to probably mess up the numbers, but the last time I was in Haiti, there was 5 million people and 5,000 NGOs.
Mm-hmm.
That's so many.
Yeah.
That's so many.
Yeah.
And so helping can hurt. And there's this big movement of all these books that came out about how helping hurts and and I don't like those books in that I don't want to discourage people from helping. I love that humans want to get involved and they want to be part of something bigger than themselves. And I don't want to ever discourage that. I just want to show them how you can do it effectively. How can you, honor that dignity inside a human and give them an opportunity to pull themselves up, not needing the little high of saying, I gave you everything.
Yeah.
That's not really love.
No.
So
I want to give you something and have you build a magnificent product or item or thing from that knowledge.
Life. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're right, though. It does come through education. Real long-term sustainable change comes through education.
Are you allowed to tell us your next project that you're working on?
My next project, I will give you one hint.
Okay, hint me up, please.
It is the headquarters for all of these incredible human beings that want to deal with education, want to deal with governments, want to deal with resiliency, food, water, sanitation, medical, it's the headquarters for those thought leaders around the world to meet, to actually put the plans together to be able to do work in Haiti.
I know what beyond. It is, but you guys don't. I think that's fantastic.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I've been working on it for years now, and it's never been announced.
Nope.
So it's coming soon.
Yep. Yes,
and
it
I
is.
can't wait to have you out there.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be really exciting. And because that's really what needs to happen is if right now, I mean, you have the WHO, the World Health Organization, but it's to privatize it or to put it in the hands of people who aren't great with boundaries, aren't great with, why are these rules here? Why can't we just do this? Why can't we just implement this change now? Like, why do we have to wait 17 months for this and that person to sign this? And well, we have everything ready to go now. You get a lot of these entrepreneurs and all these people together who are phenomenal at tag teaming some challenges and coming up with issues and coming up with those solutions for those issues. Cannot wait to see the transformation of that.
Well, that's the point is, even if you don't like it, we're all a piece. And we are going to be, in some way in our life, forced to come together. You can't live as a silo. It doesn't matter how much pain you've gone through in your life as a person with other people. You're a piece, and we're made for community.
Yeah.
And so I love working with you because you have all these pieces I don't have. And just getting to hear your story, you unlock so many truths in my life I didn't even know I knew. But now hearing how you've taken your pain and turned it into purpose, and you decide to step up, not step out. It's just awesome. And that's the point of network. That's the point of village. That's the point of being really careful of who the closest 5 people are in your life, because you're building what you think is normal off of what they say.
Yes.
And when we talk about being a billionaire as normal, then your brain goes, all right, I'll let you do it.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
They're doing it. You might as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't, then you're going to get kicked out of the village. So it starts unlocking things instead of me saying it's evil to be rich. It's normal and good and helpful to be rich.
Yes.
It's normal, good, and helpful to be influential.
Yes.
And so I just can't stress enough how important that network is. But I also heard a quote, you are, of course, the average of the 5 closest people to you. But you are also the average of the 5 closest ideas you spend the most time with. And so how can you get those ideas to be spent the most time with? In order to accomplish changing the 1% to 2%, in order to accomplish developing nations, in order to accomplish anything great in your life, you're going to have to be really intentional. And that's what my eulogy taught me, was I wasn't taking those micro steps, those daily actions or conversations to make these statements true. So whatever it is that you really set out to do, watch the right movies to put you in the right state, listen to the right people, podcasts, read the right books, because you hear the phrase, God will never give you something you can't handle. He'll never give you something you can't handle. So if you're not preparing, if you're not open, he's not going to give you the cure to cancer if you don't know medical language.
Sure. No.
At all.
No.
Because you can't handle it.
It's not.
So if you start going down the path, earthly wisdom plus heavenly knowledge, you're going to start getting a lot more downloads of things that have never been done before faster.
All the people who are listening and enjoying this podcast and enjoying the energy and the information and the conceptual facts and the hurdles and the mental obstacles that we can overcome, it all starts with the mind. It all starts with ideas and all starts with thoughts. So for those of you who are listening and subscribing, following, and watching, keep staying tuned. Much more information to come. This is not the final stopping part. This is not the end of the journey. Stay with us, stay connected, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for watching From Broke to Woke with Britnie Turner and Jeremy Alexander Newsome. We have loved this journey with you. We want to help you go from broke to woke, understanding your purpose in life and really walking in the fullness of your potential. If you want to connect with us more, go to gforcemastermind.com. You can come on vacations with us. You can connect with us as people. You can find more resources for learning. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, go to gforcemastermind. We'll see you there.